So I think so far we had discussed in last five sessions, right? Like how we analyze the algorithm, what all the um, notations we use to define the time and space complexity, all that thing. And then we discussed about maths, arrays, bit magic, and more in more detail. Like we spend quite a good amount of time in searching and sorting, especially on the sorting part of thing. And then last week we discussed about recursion, and today we'll be talking about strings. Then a couple of other topics are there like matrix, linked list, stack, queue, and then today, sometime I think I just spoke about hashing, like what we discuss, what we'll be going to discuss in hashing. And then we'll see like trees and binary search tree, all that things in our upcoming sessions. So coming back to strings, right? Let me just recap what we had discussed last week. Okay. So recursion we had discussed, and where it was 485. Yeah, recursion. So we started with defining what is recursion, where we have a bigger problem and we divide that into a smaller set and try to solve the smaller problem, right? So that is what we call it as a recursion. So you call the same function with passing lesser number of argument. For example, here, right, fun is being called with the fun n minus 1. And it will going to do the same thing, same job what fun was doing, but only thing is that you are restricting, you are dividing the problem to a smaller set. And then the very important, and I think I spoke more on that, is like adding a base condition. So where you define, or where you make sure that your function will return something, or your function will terminate. So that is called as a base condition, right? So that is very important. So what condition, what level you will add a base condition, right? So there could be a single sorry base condition, or there could be a multiple base conditions. Okay, so based on what kind of program you're, or what kind of algorithm you're implementing. And then we discussed about what all the different applications those use recursion, right? Like dynamic programming is the one which is what I can say, like 70% of code, whatever if you have implemented proper recursion code, your 70% of dynamic programming is done. And then most of the cases backtracking, where you try to solve the problem, and then going forward you realize that this approach is not the right one, then you backtrack, and then again you start with some different direction, like salesman problem or finding shortest route problem, right? So that kind of things you solve with the backtracking, but there also recursion will be used in more detail. Then divide and conquer. So we saw a lot of code in recursion code in merge sort, quick sort, how this merge sort will do the dividing the array and then applying merge sort on the divided array, and then finally it will merge, similar to that. And quick sort, like partitioning array based on the pivot value, so where you partition left and right array, again then call the quick sort on the left partitioned array and right partitioned array. So again the recursion being used here as well. Similarly, binary search, everyone knows how the binary search works. Other problems are like tree traversals, where you go depth first search, where recursion being used, and some standard algorithms like Tower of Hanoi is one of them. Joseph's problem is there, so you can Google search on that. So these things will be a bit complicated ones, so I have not discussed much, but I tried to pick up a few of the simple problems and spoke more on that. So what are the examples of recursion, how will you do it? For example, let's printing number 1 to n, so where you have a print function which takes an integer argument, and then what you do is you call the same print function with lesser arguments, or I can say like value of n is reduced here. So you are trying to solve the same problem with a smaller set, right? So the function will be called recursively, and a very important thing is your base condition when you want to terminate it. So when n becomes 0, right, so you terminate. So I think we went through this, like print 5 is called, which is called again by print 4, print 3, print 2, print 1, and then print 0 is called. And where we have a base condition where it comes to 0, right, it just returns. So we don't do anything for when print 0 is called. But once this print 0 callback comes back, it returns back to the parent. So we print the n value. So when n value is 1 here, so what we have is like it returns, and then we have a print 1 is already printed for that. Similarly 2, 3, 4, 5, it goes like that. And then we discussed like how you print other way around. For example, like we printed 1 to n. So how you print n to 1. So in this case also we discussed like instead of printing after the call, we just print before the call, right? So we print and then we call print n minus 1, right? So this is how we do. And in this case, so the important thing here is that this is called as a tail recursion, because the call, whatever we are making recursive call, right, it is the last call to be made on this. And it has performance benefit over here, because being is the last call. So so you know, right, how the function calls are being made, like one function call and then second function call, right? So it will be stored on the stack. So in a recursive, right, we maintain the stack and all the calls will be stored on the stack, right? And then if the call is last call, right, so what our modern compilers generally does is that they eliminate that recursive call. Instead of that, they make it as iterative. For example, like if you have a call like this, and let's see, this is the last recursive call to be made. So instead of calling this, they simply eliminate that call and reduce the n value and execute go to loop, and the loop will start from again here. So it is nothing but calling the same function, but changing the value of it, something like that. So I think I have already discussed this. I'm just going through again. So finding sum is also another problem. Fibonacci series is the one more thing. Finding a factorial of a number where you call n into factorial of n minus 1. And the base condition here is that once n becomes 0, you return 1. So here point is noted that you're not returning 0 here, because if you return 0 and anything multiplied with 0 will be always comes back to 0 here. So instead of that, what we do is we return 0. We return 1. So if we multiply any number with 1, is remains as the number n, right? So that is the logic here. So adding a base condition is also very important. And then we saw like how we check a palindrome. How you do a palindrome check? Like palindrome is nothing but you can read number from left to right, any string left to right, right? Either it is a number or string, whatever it is. So that should be equal, like ABC CBA or ABC CBA from left to right, right? It is the same. So this string is a palindrome string. So how will you check using the recursion? So what we are doing here is simple thing. So instead of taking the characters one by one, right, we are comparing first and last character. So and instead of just compare that and divide the problem to a smaller set and do the palindrome check on the smaller set here, like C2 to Cn minus 1. So simple thing here, like what I have written, same function, base condition, I will discuss it. What we are doing, we are checking the character at start and character at end, and if they are same, then only we are calling the is palindrome on remaining set. Like I'm just incrementing the start with the +1 and decremented the end with the end -1. And I will check the condition where start is equal to or greater than end. So then only that is this is our base condition. That means either we have a single element or we have a no elements. So then we terminate with saying that it returns true, means we have already reached that end, means we don't have any element to further to compare. So it is like palindrome. Similarly, like maximum number of pieces, like rope cutting problem also we discussed in detail. I think I am going too slow, I think. So here what we do is like given a rope and given number of times you want to cut it, like length of the rope, let's see, like rope length is 10 meters. And then they will tell you like what all sizes you can cut, like 2 meter, 3 meter, 1 meter, like that. And how many maximum number of cuts you can make, like 1 meter if they give, you can make 10 cuts, 2 meters if they give, you can make 5 cuts, something like that. So here, like, let's see this example, like where length of the rope is 7 meters, and then you need to make cuts like 1 meter, 3 meter, and 5 meter cuts. Here the goal is to make a maximum cut. So you can make 1 meter cut, 7 cuts, right? So you can make 7 cuts over here. Similarly, let's see rope length is 34 meters, and then you can probably make 10 meters, 12 meters, 14 meter cuts, right? So either you can make 2 10-meter cuts and one this C cut, right, 14 meters. So you can make 3 cuts possible, or 2 B cuts, or and 1 A cut also it's possible. If you are not able to make proper cut, or if rope length is left out and you cannot make proper cut, in that case you return -1. For example, here, right, where n equal to 10, and you have cuts to be made like 3, 6, and 8. So here you can see you cannot make a proper cut. If you take 3 and 6, that again 1 meter will be left, or you can take 3 and 8, like 1 extra meter is required, you cannot make a proper cut. So in that case you return -1. So it was an interesting problem, though it looks a very difficult problem. If you know recursion nicely, like you can solve the problem very nicely. If you know recursion in like if you understood like how you can solve this problem. For example, let's see, like n equal to 34. So what I can make is I can it is just a pictorial. Okay, recursion goes in depth first search, like it goes like this and then it returns back. So but I have just for demonstration purpose I have taken like this. So you can make a cut with the length a, which is 10, and then call the recursive way like remaining length, and then again call ABC here. Similar to that, B also you can make cut of B 12, and then remaining length you can make again ABC call here. Similarly, C you make a cut of 14 first, and then remaining length, right, you can call again recursively. So it goes like this, right? And this will be continued until you hit with either length 0, or it may go as a negative value also, because for example here, right, if you make again left out will started with 24, you made a cut of B which is 12, and 12 is left out, and here let's say A you can still left out with 2 and B is 0, and C if you make 14 cut, right, it is minus, it goes minus, so you cannot make a proper cut. So if you go further down, it will be like either negative or it will be 0. So what we are interested in, we are interested in 0. So that means it is a proper cut, like cut of A and cut of B is a proper cut here. So in this case, you can return. So if you see the code, right, it is pretty simple one. Like what we are doing, we are taking a maximum. Like here we have to see, like we want to, there could be multiple options, multiple possible ways, but we want to know like how many maximum cuts you want to make. So what I can do is like I can call this rope max cut with n minus a, means n is being passed. So I am going to call recursively with passing a as a first cut length, and then remaining values. So that means this part I am going to call recursively, and then this, and I will check return value of this. What is the maximum cuts I can possibly make? So I have called max. So this max function I have implemented, saying that return whichever the maximum one. What is the base condition here? Base, and how will you return? So if result becomes -1, that means it is not a proper cut, like -1, right? Or I can take, instead of -1, I can say it is a negative. It returns -1, or if it is 0, then you are returning nothing but a result plus 1 you are returning in this case. And what will be your base condition? Base condition, if it is negative, you are returning -1. So okay, it is right here. Or if it is 0, then you are returning 0. So if it is 0 means you have make a proper cut. So that will be added over here to your result. So this is how you can make. So I think I spent too much time on that revision part. Let's discuss with the today's topic, which is strings. So what is a string? String is nothing but a set of characters, right? And what is the advantage? Like we can still use strings using a character array, right? But why we need a string as a separate class in Java? Basically, the important thing in string is that it is immutable. That makes it more important. And apart from that, instead of taking character, right, string class itself has a lot of functions, which is inbuilt functions that you can directly use. And the benefit of string, if you take any strings, right, it is just a character set. So like 128 characters, which has small ABC and then capital ABCD, and then 0 to 1 numbers, and then some special characters like equal and whatever you see on the keyboard, right? All characters are defined in 128 character set. So string is made up of that. So that is one advantage. So it is, again, it is internally like it is a character array itself, but how things are stored is like you can, if you know like exactly these things, these characters only will be represented. So you can have more advantage on that. So that is the advantage of string class. And string class by itself, right, it has a lot of inbuilt functions. Let me show you that. For example, if you take, this is the string documentation, I have taken 7 because many people are still on the 7. Anyway, nothing much has changed. So character set. So these are all the methods. I will discuss on the what all the constructions we can use. But the character at method will return the index on which the character is found. For example, let's see the character is hello world, and you are searching for word where the W, what is the character, the index of the W right there. So it returns a position like starting from 0, 1, 2, 3 like that, what position that W exists. Similar to that, again compared to like one string will be compared with another string. So if you are doing character array comparison, right, basically you need to compare each and every character by yourself, but using compare to on the string side, you can directly compare two strings. And another important, like if you don't want to check on the case, right, if it is a capital case or lower case, then basically you can use this compare to ignore case. So basically it will convert to a lower case on the comparing string and compared string, and then try to match. So that is what it does. This is also important function. And then concatenating string, contain strings, There are so many things here, like equals ignore case is there, similar to that. And what are the hash code? Okay, we'll discuss this. Index of is also important, so it basically tells you on what index this exists. So sorry, here character, it will return the character. Index of is what it does, and this empty is returns if the string is empty. And there are first character, last characters, last index of, first index of also is written like on which index this exists. And substring is, it returns like substring of a string, and we give either you can execute on the begin index, it goes till the last index, or you can still specify with the begin index and last index. So what substring of the string you need. For example, string is hello world and you want to substring from 0 to 5 index, so you can take that hello, right? So that is how you can do and okay, so a lot of other things are there, so that's fine, like no need to get into that detail. So that is the advantage of string class, because it has a lot of inbuilt functions on that. It is immutable in the sense like you're not going to store, in the sense like you cannot operate on the same every time you create a string, right? New object will be created. Like if string abc is there, if you modify that itself, abc2 plus d, if you do, the new object will be created. So that is what the immutable. So but if string, if you want to still want to maintain that, save the string object, right? You can use the string buffer and string builder classes, which does the same thing over the string. But there are different things why we have two classes, right? One is the string buffer is a thread safe class, and string builder is not the thread safe class. String itself is a thread safe class, because you are not changing that state of the object, right? Because every time you are creating the object, right, it is something to string builder with some additional, but only advantage with string class and string builder is that it is immutable, and string builder is not immutable. You can still store the object state. In string buffer, it is threads. Sorry, this string buffer is not thread. I got confused. I think it is not thread safe. String buffer, it is a faster one, whereas string builder is the thread safe, but it makes things slow down because of thread safety. If you want to make thread safe, right, you have to implement a lot of code, which to make sure like only one thread will execute that particular code set, right? A lot of chat questions are coming. String builder is not thread safe. Yeah, string builder is not thread safe. String buffer is thread safe. String builder, okay, I think I told other way around, so I'm sorry. So yeah, okay, moving next. So how you can define, okay, here I think I missed one more part. I think I told this, right, how strings can be declared. Like either you can have a string s equal to new string, or you can directly declare. Like other objects you cannot do like this, but in string you can do. String integers, all that things you can do like this. String s equal to abc also can be declared. Okay, now coming back to let me know guys if I'm going a bit faster. I thought like I'm going normal speed, but I'm not sure if I missed something. The questions which comes on the string, right, we'll discuss on that, like check for an anagram. So what is anagram? Now let's see like what is anagram. Like given two strings, check for having the same character set. So that is what is anagram. For example, let's see if you have string s1 here, ABBC, and string s2 is BCBA. So anagram is the one which like checks for the characters, exact number of characters, and the frequency of that characters also. For example, like here, A is coming once, and here also A is coming, irrespective of the position of that character, right? So that is what the anagram check. And B is coming 2 times. So here also B is coming 2 times. C is coming once. So C is coming once. So these S1 and S2 are like anagram of each other. Okay. So we can say yes, output is yes. So given another string S1 like A, B, C, and S2 is A, B, B, C. Here you can see the even the same characters are appearing, but the thing is that A is appearing twice here, and here B is appearing twice. So they are not anagram of each other, right? So here the output is no. How will you implement this? So given this, like how will you check given two strings, you know, to find out whether they are anagram of each other or not? How will you do it? Any guesses, guys? I'm sorry. Okay, let's not waste time. So what you can do is you can sort the string, right? You can sort the string and then you can check whether S1 is equal to S2. Excuse me. So what you can do if you sort, right, anyway this is already sorted. So if you sort S2 also, it becomes A, B, B, C, right? And then if you compare S1 and S2, it is true. This is a naive approach. And comparison, anyway, it is constant operation, but sorting will take big of n log n, right, which we already discussed. Can we do in much better way? Let's see, I think I have implemented that. Yeah, first you will check string, both the string have the same length, then only they can be anagram of each other, right? If string lengths are varying, means they cannot be. So first we'll do a check of that. S1 length of S1 and length of S2, if they are not equal, we return false. Next what we do, we convert into characters because we want to sort, and then what we do, we call arrays.sort on that character S1, and character S2 we do sort, and then sorted strings will save again back to S1 and S2, and then we check S1 is equal to S2. This is not a good approach because as already explained, it takes big of n log n, because sorting will take n log n. This as such method will not take much time. It fully relies on this sorting, right? And sorting take n log n plus n log n. 2n log n is nothing but n log n, constant term, and comparison is just a constant word, big of one word, so that's fine. But altogether it is big of n log n time, which is not a good one. So how will you solve that problem? Anagram problem. Naive approach is not a, or basic solution is not a good way. It is a, you can still solve the problem, but it's not a ideal case, or not a one count frequency of each character and match. Frequency of each character and match. Yeah, we can do it, but you have to iterate, right? Okay, so the this solution, right, approach 2. Let's before getting into solution, what we can do, right? You know, right, what all the character set is like, maximum you can have 256 characters. So what I can do, I can take a 256 character array, okay, and I'll see like what is the ASCII value of the character for which you are checking. For example, here, let's see. First, anyway, the length need to be checked. Next, I will take a character array of 256 character, okay. Then I will iterate through the S1 and S2 because I know the length is same. So I will take any of the length, S1 dot length, and I will check that I will get the ASCII value of the first character. Okay, for example, like A, ASCII value of A is what, 97, right? And I will increment that 97th position of this character array, which is 256, right? I will increment, so I will add 1 into that, and I will check for S2. Okay, let me show with one example. Okay, so let's say this A, B, B, C and B, C, B, A. So what we will do here is in this loop, right? First, you check with A. A is the 97th character in this array, right? Array of 256, 97th position means if you start from 0, it will be 96th, right? So what it so first you will check A. So S1, what I will do, I will make this as a 1 here, and S2, what I will do, B comes, right? So B I will decrement, so B will become -1 here, right? And next character, the comparison of B and C here. So once B comes, right, so I will increment, so this 0 become, this -1 becomes 0 now. And for C, what I will do, I will make 1, sorry, I will make -1 here because it is this one, right? So I'm decrementing for S2. So this C, it becomes -1. So it goes for next B, right, here. So if goes for B, what it does, it makes 1 here. For S1, it makes plus plus. For S2, again it is a B, it makes minus minus. So again this becomes 0 here. So that is done. For now C and A, right? This C and A. For C, it has to increment. So C increment, if you increment, it becomes 0, right? And for A, what it happens, it needs to decrement. So the 1 becomes 0 now. And finally, what you have is, you still have the, if it is anagram, right, you will have this character array all zeros, because in one string you are incrementing, and in another string, whenever the character found, you are decrementing. That is what we are doing. That is what is being done here, right? And So, and once you check this, if character of I, so this is still constant work because we are doing big of 256. So it is 256 fixed number, right? So we still consider it as a constant one. And what is the what is the code here? Big of n, right? Big of s1 or big of s2, whatever it is. So both the length is same. It is still a small value because it is the value of, it is just like you are, once you are iterating for a complete string, any string s1 or s2, because both should be the same length. All right. It is much what I can say, like better solution than what we discussed earlier. So it may be, you may feel like it is a complex solution if you have small strings. Let's see, strings are very huge, where you have 1,000 character to be compared, where we have some computing some hashes, where we have a very large length of string, right? Comparing that to strings, then this kind of algorithms works much better. Like comparing small strings is, anything is fine. Like either you use that or use this, anything is fine. But if you have a larger string, that time this algorithms works much better way. Okay. Any questions? Can character 16-bit and range, can sum of ASCII value of each string to be compared to determine its anagram? Sorry, I didn't get this question. Anyway, we'll come back to it. Okay. So that is it. And I think, I hope this question, this answer is clear, right?
Feroz, one question. This character array, right? Is it by default initialized with 0, or do we have to initialize with 0? Like all the elements in the character array.
In Java, if you declare right, it will be initialized to 0. By default, they will be initialized to 0. We don't need to take care of anything.
Okay.
Okay.
Fine.
Okay. Moving next, what question we have? So pattern
No,
matching.
there's no question. There's no question, Feroz. Shushovan was asking a question on the sum of ASCII values, and Ravi has given a exact answer. So
okay, fine. Okay, fine. So pattern matching. So pattern matching is the more frequently being used kind of problem. Even though if you interviewers also ask this kind of question, but if they don't ask also, like even in day-to-day life, right? You hit with a lot of pattern matching kind of things, which where the strings are being involved in a larger extent. For example, what is pattern matching? Like let's see, like Humpty Dumpty. The input string is Humpty Dumpty, and the pattern you need to match is that UMP. And what is expected here? So first expectation here is that the index on which this string starts. For example, this UMP starts here, like 0, first index. Next occurrence of this will be like this index, which is 8th. So that is what is expected. So basically, you want to make sure that either it exists or not, first one, which is like if index is non-negative. In this case, right here, input is 5 rows and key is to be searched, pattern is key. So it doesn't exist. So you return -1. Or let's see, interesting is here, FFF and 5 times F, and you want to find FF in this one. So there is a first match here, the two Fs are matching. So you slide the window and then check the next two characters. Again, FF, which is also matching. So first match is at 0th index, second match is at first index. And again you slide the window to this. Again, it is matching. So it is on the second position, 0, 1, 2. And then again, it will be on third position. So once you reach here, right, you cannot move back. If you move also, it is a single index left, so it is not matching with FF. So that is what only this 0, 1, 2, 3 will be written. So a lot of questions comes on the pattern matching. So how efficiently or effectively you write a program to do the pattern matching. So we'll see some questions on that. One is the naive approach. So naive approach, what you can do? You can do a sliding window. For example, what we just did right here, right? So you take an input character and you take an input, the pattern to be matched with on the input string. You try to match with the length of the string, right? For example, length is here 2, 0, 1. So you take the window size as 2 and pick the first two character from the input and then try to match with the pattern, right? And again, once either match or don't match, you increment print or increment the value of that match, or print the position of the existence of that index, and then I keep moving the window and then try to match the pattern again and again. But this will take a bit. Let's see this first. We will discuss this in more detail. What other algorithms we have? The next what we have is based on pre-processing the pattern. For example, like you can make hash of the pattern and then try to match with the hash the pattern length of the, like you take a input string and then pick the number of characters what the pattern has from that input string, and then apply a hash on that, and then try to match with what pattern you are looking at, the hash of that with the input string. Sorry, okay, I will explain this in detail. I'm not able to put it in the right word, but it is based on the rolling hash approach. We'll discuss this. Another one is the suffix tree. Suffix tree is the kind of problem where you have given a bigger text or a static web page or a book where it is not going to change. So you can, what you can do is you can pre-process the text and form the patterns, right? Like for example, like I have one small chapter I was going through in my yesterday, my son's book. Like it says like Asma's house, and it defines like what all it has. Like its color is blue, it has a garden and gate, and then so many things. So what suffix tree does is like it forms that like Asma's house, and it has a garden, it has a gate. So all possible combinations of strings it makes, and then whenever you're doing a search, right, it try to match with that already processed thing about how the Google search works, right? It is based on that. But this is a complex topic, and our scope is not to get into that level suffix tree. But if I get a chance to explain about the trie, right? Trie data structure. This is also data structure which is called as trie, which is operates something like the suffix tree. I will discuss on this. But now for string comparison, pattern matching, this is out of our scope. Okay, so let's talk about two topics. One is this naive approach, how we do a pattern matching on the naive approach, and then this Rabin-Karp algorithm, which is based on the rolling hash. We'll discuss this. Okay, let's do this naive approach. How we do? I think I just spoke about this. Like you take length of the string to be matched n, and length of the pattern to be matched, which is m. So what you do? You go through the length of the pattern till starting from 0 to n minus m, because till that time you need to go, and beyond that it will be less characters than the pattern, right? So that's why. So and initialize the j. So what you are doing in this for loop, you are trying to match the pattern with the input string, right? So character at I plus j, which is nothing but starting from I equal to 0, right? 0 and j is 0 means you are trying to match the 0th pattern in the text and 0th pattern in the pattern what you are matching, right? And then if both the characters are different, then it is not going to match. So you are definitely breaking at that place itself. Let's see after it has properly executed this loop. In that case, what you do, you check whether all the patterns have been matched or not. If they are matched, then only you print. Let's see one example. Let's see, I have an example, A, B, C, D, then A, B, right? And pattern to be matched to A, B, C. Okay. So what you will do, you start with 0 and you go with n minus 1. So let's do that. So j equal to 0. So you started with this. So what you do here, and m is what here? M is the pattern length. So you are going till here now. Okay. And this one. So what you are doing first here, you are comparing character at I plus j. So 0, 0. So you are comparing basically this two one. And with what? Character of j. Character of j is nothing but is 0 here now. So you are comparing both. If they are equal, then fine. You go to the next character. So you pick 0 plus 1, which is this, and compare with first character. Compare with this. So all the match. So j become m because j becomes 3 right now. And then you say pattern found at I. So what is I value here? I value still 0. So which is 0th position. So our pattern match at 0th position. Then what you do? You change the value of I. Now I becomes 1. So your input string will be now this much. Your input string is this. Right, so your input string will be BC DAB, and your pattern to be matched is ABC. Again, you start the same logic here. You try to match with B and A, which is this statement. And what happens here? It is not equal, right? So you break and increment the I value. So now I becomes this one. This B goes out of the scope, and this becomes your next I becomes this position, right? So your pattern string is this much, CD, AB, and the pattern to be matched is ABC. Again, this will be try to match. No, then I will be incremented here. So this is the last one here because you're going till n minus n, right? So D and A, they will try to match. They are not equal, right? So your loop will terminate here. So this is how it goes. I hope it is clear. This is how the pattern will be matched. But if you see the time complexity, what is the time complexity here? So this loop is going till what level? Big of n minus m plus 1. Why plus 1? Because we are starting from the 0th position, right? So that is the reason is m minus n minus m we are anyway going, but we are starting from 0. So it is plus 1. So big of n minus m plus 1 level it is going. So this loop, the outer loop. But how many times you are executing that loop? In worst case, let's assume the case where I have patterns, right? F. Writing on this is horribly difficult. 5. Okay, the pattern to be matched is, let's say, F. So what you are doing here in this case? In this case, all the characters are matching, right? So what you have to do, you have to go execute this loop every time. So this is the worst case scenario, right? So what happens, right? Based on the pattern length, right, you have to iterate this loop so many times. So which is nothing but big of m. And this anyway you are executing on the outside. So it is big of n minus m plus 1 into m times. You can see this. So it is like this. So if your input string is very large, right, and your pattern to be matched is also large enough, right, then this will be like very complex, or what I can say, very time consuming operation, because you have to, and you have something string something like this where you hit lot of worst case scenarios, then this will going to take a long time. This is not a nice solution, right? We can still improve this solution. What we can do is, let's see the pattern to be matched is a distinct element. For example, let's see the pattern to be matched has all distinct elements. Let's see A, B, C, D. This pattern to be matched, right? This input, this size is A, B, C, D. I have any example of that? Okay. So to be A, B, C, D. So I'm sure that, and let's see input string is something like this, A, B, C, A, B, C, D, E, F. Okay. Something like this. And now you can see that this pattern, right? This is a pattern to be matched, and this is a text. Okay. So the pattern has all the distinct element A, B, C, D. So in first iteration, what I am doing here, so I'm trying to match A with A, B with B, C with C, and this A and D is not matching, right? But I got to know that these three patterns are already matched, and right, A, B, C, these are all matched. These characters are matching with my pattern string and the text string, right? So I'm sure that if B is matching with B, means I have all distinct element, right? So A will not match with B, or correct, right? C will not match with B because they are all matching. So that means what I can do, I can directly jump till here because I have a distinct element here, and other strings are matching, means I cannot match that, right? So what I will do here is I'll just improvement, right? Instead of iterating here in this place, what I will do, I will leave it to program to decide what to be implemented. If let's see that all characters are matching, so what I can do, I can, anyway the pattern has matched, so similarly, like I can just increment it to normally, like I can just increment, for example in this case, right, where all the patterns are matching, so I can just increment one position, or I can increment the completely. If J becomes 0, means what, none of the patterns are matching, right? So for example here I started with A, B, C, D. Let's see if I have A, F here, started with F here. So first pattern itself is not matching. So I need to just increment to one position. Or what I can do, I can increment to I plus J position, means because my J patterns has already matched, right? So I can directly jump. I have an example here. Okay, let's see with this example here. So what I have is here, this is the input string, and this is the pattern to be matched, and all the pattern here has a distinct element. Okay, so what I can do is how it starts with this program, right? It starts with matching A, matching B, matching C, matching D, right? And this here, right, A is not matching with E, which is what which is the 0, 1, 2, 3, fourth character is not matching. So I am sure that I have a distinct element and B is matching with B means it cannot be A, right? C is matching with C means again it cannot be A. D is matching with D means this character cannot be A here because it has already matched with my distinct element. So what I can do, I can, instead of jumping to here and comparing from here, right? What I can do, I can directly jump here and start comparing from this element. So my next character will be like A, B, C, D, E, and I can do the comparison from here. I hope it's clear for you guys because you got the concept right, because having distinct element means I no need to slide a window with one position. I can slide the window to a position where my next match has not matched properly. If all elements are matching, then I can directly jump to the next set. Correct? So that is how the distinct element is the importance of that. Because I know that having distinct element is that if some character has a match, then I cannot match that character, because that is how this works. Questions? Basically skip whatever was matched. Yes, basically skip whatever has matched and then move to the next window. So that is what this pattern matching, and this saves a bit of time. Like it adds, like if you have instead of doing for iterating for big of n minus m plus 1 into m times, you can just iterate with the big of n times, because you are just iterating over a pattern, right? So that is the advantage you get here. Okay, the next window will be something like this. Once you fail the matching with this pattern, so what you do, you instead of moving to B and start matching with your ABCD pattern, you directly jump to this position, because here only you fail the match, and try to match with ABCD. Once this is matching perfectly, then you can directly jump here. Next next jump will be here, and then try to match with this. That is how it goes, right? And it goes like this. Okay, we need to understand another. Okay, this is what the naive approach. We'll try to see what is the Robin-Karp algorithm, which is based on the rolling hashed approach. So what we have is, let's see. I think I had a difficulty in explaining how this algorithm works. Let's try to understand with an example. Let's assume that we have an input string something like this: A, B, D, E, A, B, C, A, 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 B, something like this, and pattern to be matched is A, B, C. What rolling Karp algorithm does is, because we all know that strings are made with the characters, right? So every character has some weight or some value. Let's see A. This is just for programmatically, I have just taken some random value. Okay, so otherwise it has to take some ASCII value, actually speaking. But to make it very simple one, I have taken some input values. Let's see, A has 1 and B has 2, C has 3, D has 4, and E has 5, something like that. And what it does is it computes a hash. So my hash function is very simple here. So just for simplicity, I have taken hash function something like this, which does some addition of the character values of the input. So what the pattern is ABC. So character of A is 1, B is 2, and C is 3. So if I add it up, so it becomes 6. So what Robin-Karp algorithm does is, it tries to match the pattern, take the hash of the input string, and then try to match with the hash with the try to see if the pattern to be matched, the hash of that is same or not. For example, here, right, the text. So first, what is in your first operation, first iteration, what you do, you take the ABD. So that is the length of the pattern, right, 3, and you see the computed hash is 7, which is not equal to 6. Then you take BDE. So this is your next iteration, BDE, right? Again, you compute the pattern. B is 2, D is 4, and E is 5. Your hash is 11. You match with 6, which is not right. It is not equal. Then you go to next DEA. So this one, DEA, and then you computed the pattern. You computed a hash, which is 10. Similarly, EAB, which is 8. And next interesting one is this ABC. This ABC. The match is 6. The computed hash is 6 here, and your input hash is 6. So when the match happens, right, it is not exactly same. Okay, let me come to that. When you fail it, so when you have a same hash with the pattern to be matched and the text, input text, right, if they have same, right, then only you do the comparison. For example, in this case only, what I will do is I will do the comparison. I will check whether A is equal to A, B is equal to B, or C equal to C. Why you need to do comparison? I will come to that, because there could be some like spurious hits also, where you will have a false positive cases also. For example, let's see BCA. Okay, so what you have for B, you have 2 for B, 3 for C, 1 for A, and again this is coming to 6. I'm sorry, this is also coming to 6. This is also match because it is matching the hash of the pattern to be searched, which is 6, right? But the strings are not same here, right? So in this case, when you start doing comparison, right, A is matching with A here, A is matching with B, then it fails, right? So this is called as false positive case. So in this case only you are doing a comparison, otherwise you are not doing a comparison of the strings. So if you see this algorithm, right, so how much time it takes? It is the time taken to compute the hash, and then comparison is fine because it is just a constant operation, but the comparison need to be done for all the characters. So big O of n along with the computation of the hash, but hash computation has to be done for all the strings, right? Again, that is a big O of n. So if you see this program, that it is a big O of n square, but I am staying still better, right? Because you can improve this hashing, you can improve. How we are computing hash? We are computing in a simple function. What you can do, instead of computing every time, so you can compute based on the input size, for example, right here. So what you can do, let's see if I want to compute the hash of the second iteration, right? What I can do, I can take the already computed hash, which is this hash of the ABC, which is 7 here, minus text of I, the earlier hash, whatever you computed, right, minus 1. So which means I am excluding A here and I am adding E onto this. I have to exclude the hash of A and I have to add the hash of E. So that is what I'm doing. I'm excluding hash of I and including hash of I plus 1, right? So this is how you can do. You can minus 1 from here and add hash of the next value, which next value is 5 here. So 5. So what you will have? In this case, 7 minus 1 is 6, 6 plus 5 is 10. 6 plus 5 is 11. So that is what value you got. And if you see this, right, this is a constant operation, right? So it doesn't take any time, just one iteration only. Earlier we were computing, so we have to iterate through all the text and take the values and then compute. So it was like going through a loop, which is a linear operation. So you have to go through, but this is a constant operation. So you can save the time. And now what is the time actual taken for the Robin-Karp algorithm? It is just a comparison. And when comparison will happen? When the exact match will happen, when the pattern and the text hashes are matching, right? So that time only the comparison will happen. And that is like not so many times, right? So even in worst case also, it is a big of the text size, right? Big of, if you say this is a n character, so then it will be big of n. That is how the time. So guys, if you have missed my earlier session, right, so videos are available, because this time complexity, I will be just talking big O and theta, all that things. If you have missed my session, please go through it. Otherwise you will find difficulty in understanding that.
Yeah, and the sessions is available. It's one of the first sessions in the YouTube channel. So please go and have a look at it.
Yeah, first and second session also I discussed like how you do in recap, right? I already discussed that. If you have missed that, then you will not understand the time complexity and what is a constant operation, all that things. So that is how these things will be computed, and it works out to be a much better. So what is a rolling hash? I hope you people have understood, where instead of calculating hash at one place, right, what you do, you based on the input size and what need to be computed, right, so you are minusing the earlier computed hash and then adding the new hash value to it. So this is what called as a rolling hash. Okay, and Robin-Karp algorithm works on that. So this is asked in many interviews, guys. So if you are not understood.
So Firoz, just to clarify the understanding, basically what the algorithm basically does is kind of partitions creates sections of the text, finds out the closest match, and then does an exact match, so that to reduce to come up with the least amount of time complexity available for achieving the objective.
No, it is not that. Maybe I'm sorry, I'm not explained you properly. So what it does is like, see, let's see. Let me explain to again. So this is the text what you have. Okay, and this has a length n, and the pattern is length m. Let's say this is a length m, and this is a length n. So what we need to do from this length, right, length of n, right? So we have to pick the m length characters. So first 3 characters and compute a hash on that. And hash computation I showed with a simple example here. So like ABD.
Yeah.
So you computed and you got a hash value. And again, compute a pattern, hash of the pattern to be matched here, ABC, which is 6 here, right? So what I will do, I will go through in first for loop, right? I have not written the code, sorry for that. What I will do, I will compute all the patterns, all the, what I can say is hash, for all the.
Yeah, I understand. All the set of
all the set of,
length.
Characters which can be matched with the pattern, right? I will compute a hash for that. So this is the hash. And then what I can do, I will just try to match with that, which is a constant operation. Like try to match with the hash of the pattern, like match with 7 and 6, match 7, 6 and 11.
Yeah.
And once I have an exact match, for example, like 6 and 6. In this case, it is this one, ABC and this ABC, right? Then only I will do a character comparison using this for loop, which I already showed like here. Using this for loop, I will do a character match.
Okay.
Which I'm doing here, right? The size m, I will try to match it. So that is what I will do. But I can get some false positive cases also. For example, in this case, which I was just saying, right?
The 5th and 6th one.
Yeah, BCA. If you take, so what happens here, right? BCA cases, the hash value of this BCA is also 6, and our inputs to be searched is also 6, which is a false positive case, right? It is a spurious hit. In this case, when you try to do a match, right, you will get to know it is not exactly matching. So that is how it goes. Okay. So there could be some cases where your input size can hit with lot of false positive cases. So you can still improve this hashing algorithm itself. So what you can do, you can add some weightage to the position of the hash. For example, let's define some constant value C equal to, let's see what I can do, C equal to some 5 value or some input value. So what I can do, I can multiply this. For example, like if A is matching at the first place, right? I can multiply with 1 into 5, right? If A is coming at second position, then what I can do, I can multiply with 1 into 5.
Okay. You're trying to make it one. Even in the false positives, you're trying to give like which one should I pick? More weightage is more likelier to.
Exactly. So I can improve this algorithm. So what I have written is very simple.
Okay.
To understand you people, if I write this complex logic, right, it will be difficult. So based on the number of characters,
I understand how the weightage is. Yeah.
If the A is coming at third,
for a larger pattern, I think the weightage will be more important if for the larger pattern, isn't it?
No. Weightage will be more important if you have a false positive case. For example, let's see, ABC is there.
Oh, okay.
See, I have 2 pattern matches here in this thing, ABC and BCA.
And BCA,
okay.
Yes.
Right. So while computation pattern, right, if I use the approach which I just suggested here, right, what I'm doing 1 into 5, which is 5 here, A is value 1, right? B is coming second position.
Yes.
So what I will try to do multiplication B with the B is 2
into 25.
5. Yeah, 2 into 25 here. Position is second, right? So it will be
25.
Well, 25, right? 25 into 2 is 50.
2 in 50. 50.
And C is third place. C value is 3. 3 into.
So it will be what? 375, I think.
Yeah,
3. If you give 3 to 175 too.
Yeah, it will be 375. So this will be your computed hash. But if you compute a hash here, like what will be? It will be 10 here, right? 2 into 5, right?
Yes.
And C value will be again 25 into 375.
3 into 25 into 375. Yeah.
Right. And value of A will be 125, right? 1 into 5 cube.
Yes.
So even though earlier you had match, here you will not have match. But again, there could be some possibilities that it will hit with the spurious cases where false positive cases are possible, but the chances are less. So you can improve the algorithm. I didn't speak about this earlier because if I speak right, first of all, I'm finding difficulty to explain in words. Then it will.
It is much easier to explain in mathematical terms than in words.
Right. Yeah. Right.
Just one question here. If we try to, with just the example, not actually writing the code, if we try to calculate the time complexity, I remember you typed where somewhere 7 minus 1 plus 5, and it was adding come up to 11. So how do we find out the iterations? Is there a formula for it or something? If example, if we take the exact thing, what I mean the formula is that m minus n, yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So this is the formula, so like n will be the length of the input string which I have taken, input text, or I can say input string, or m is the pattern to be matched, string of length of the pattern to be matched. So based on that, you are iterating till n minus m. Why I have added one here is that you have started from the 0th index, right? So that is the reason, because we have to take the last one also. Then only we'll get to know that it will be now next iteration will be less than n minus 1. But still I have to go to that and see that the condition has to be executed. So that is the reason. So that is the reason it is n minus m plus 1. But you can still ignore that plus 1, because in
obviously we don't
usually ignore the constant values.
Yeah.
Okay. Any doubts, guys, on this? Because we are already hitting with the time. Do you guys want me to continue, or I think this will be the last, I guess. Okay, this will be the last.
Yeah, I think that's the last videos. Yeah.
So let me take some 5-10 minutes to finish this up. So check for rotation. Rotation is like, for example, let's say we have a, b, x, y input. So let's say I have a, b, x, y, and the string 2 is x, y, a, b. So here what you need to check whether this string s1, right, is a rotation of the s2 or not, or s2 is rotation of s1 or not. For example, like if you rotate this y clockwise, right, so what will be the iteration? First, what you will get? Bx ay. So a goes and sits at the next position, and then you try to compare this with the string x. First you compare both the strings, so they are not equal. You do a rotation and try to compare. So this string and this string to be matched, s2, they are not equal. Again you rotate and see x, y, a, b, they are matching. So string s1 is somewhat rotation. You can get the match still with the rotation. Let's see this example: a, b, a, c, and b, a, a, c. Even you rotate 4 times, right? Maximum 4 times you can rotate. You can rotate clockwise or anti-clockwise. This example I gave, I'm just going a bit faster, guys. So clockwise rotation, here I have taken the anti-clockwise rotation. So y will going and sitting here, right? Again, this is trying to match with this, and again you do again another rotation, you will get x, y, a, b, both the same. You do rotate clockwise or anti-clockwise, you will have the same value, same result. But sometimes you will get some good hits if you do clockwise or anti-clockwise based on the input string. Let's see, a, b, x, y is there, and you are trying to search for the search this. If it comes to first, right, then you will get exact match, but this has to be rotated for 3 times to get a match. So it may go like that. Taking another example here, a, b, a, c, and string to b, a, a, c. Even though you rotate 4 times clockwise or anti-clockwise, right, you are not going to get a match, because the problem here is that this a is coming twice. One possible thing is like it may go to the first and come to the last, and BC may come here. This is the possible rotation. What are the possible rotations here is like A, C, B, one thing, right? Another thing is like A, C, B, A. Another thing is like C, B, A. Next will be like A, C, B. This anyway it is there. So all possible cases it cannot hit with A, B, A, C, right? Because of this string. You can rotate any string, guys. So this is how you can do. This is the one thing, like, and you can compare. So what is the naive approach? Naive approach is quadratic. Like you can keep rotating the string and then try to match with the input character, right? This is how it is. Or next, another good example with the strings, what we can do is like you add the same string again. For example, what I have done here, let's take this example only. So I have a, b, x, y. So what I will do, a, b, x, y, right? I will add a, b, x, y again here, a, b, x, y. A, b, x, y, a, b, x, y. If I rotate also, I should have got somewhat characters, right? And then I will try to match x, y, a, b in that. So x, y, a, b exist. So that means I can get this string with some rotations. So that is what I'm going to do here.
Basically, we are kind of doubling the length of the string to find any pattern match, kind of exact match.
Like that, yeah. So it is like that. S1 plus S2 and index of S2 in that one, it is greater than 0. Then it is like, it has a rotation on that. It is a kind of, you can get a string with that some rotation on that. Otherwise, it is not. So that is what we are doing. A naive approach is like you keep rotating every time and then trying to match. So this is what I just explained. This is a naive approach using existing lot of inbuilt methods on a string class, right? You can do with a single line actually. First, anyway, you have to check, because when you are checking, right, it can be rotation of that string, means they have to be matched, right? Because they need to be exist with the same number of characters. And then you add and then try to check whether that input the index of the second string is exist or not. Let's see this. So if you take ABAC, right? So if you add 2 times, what you will have ABAC, and then you will have ABAC again, right? And then you try to see the index of BAAC. That means if that string exists in this one, it doesn't, right? You cannot find it because this having this AA 2 times is causing the problem here, right? You cannot find it, so it is no here. So this is how the problem can be solved. I think that was my last slide, I guess, guys. And whatever slides so far I have demonstrated, shown, right? So I have just shared to Sovik, and he will be sharing the slides, guys. Any questions? I think
sure,
I missed
Firoz.
some chat sections. So if you have any questions, then I can take.
I couldn't find anything, Firoz. I was going through it. There's a question for Harish where he says, will you explain hash code and equals? And I believe it will be done, but in subsequent sessions. So
Yeah,
when we
there
come
is
to it, we can.
there is a separate section on that, so that I will going to take it some time. Yeah.